The Steam Deck. You might have seen it pop up on your Twitter feed or even on YouTube, and for a good reason. It's like the Switch Pro that we never got, except it's a PC. But I guess that we need to go a little bit deeper. What's up guys, I'm Snows, and this is your boot sequence. So, the Steam Deck. Let's run through it and see what Valve cooked up for us. Looking at the actual product, physically, it has a 7-inch touchscreen similar to the new Switch OLED, but in Valve's case, it's a good old 60Hz LCD. The resolution of the screen is 1280 by 800, which is a little bit taller than 720p. The built-in controller is, well, I really don't know what to think of it. It's almost like everything is in a straight line at the top, and I'm guessing that you could use the trackpads as analog sticks if you're an ex-Steam controller user, and it would kind of make you feel more like an old school controller, but once again, I think it's a little bit too top heavy for my taste. It has speakers and a couple of extra grip buttons on the back, which is greatly appreciated for more complicated games. But you're probably more interested in the specs of this thing rather than the buttons. Inside of it is a custom APU from AMD that looks a lot like what we've seen in previous roadmaps. Van Gogh has a combination of Zen 2 cores with Navi 2X graphics and LPDDR5 RAM, and that's exactly what the Steam Deck has. A quad-core, 8-thread Zen 2 based CPU and an 8 compute unit or 512 stream processor RDNA 2 based GPU. In terms of clock speeds, the CPU is at 2.4 GHz base clock and a 3.5 GHz boost. For memory, it has a whopping unified 16 gigabytes of LPDDR5, which has a speed, if you want to call it that, of 5500 megahertz, but the actual specs is 5500 megatransfers per second. This, in comparison, is definitely way slower than GDDR6 that is used in consoles today, but LPDDR5 is at about the equivalent of early GDDR5 memory found in 2010 GPUs and last generation consoles. I mean, honestly, it's not that impressive of a resume in terms of the spec sheet, but considering that it's running an 800p display, it should be great, right? I mean, let's compare it to the Xbox Series S. The Microsoft console has 4 teraflops and is marketed towards 1440p gaming. The Steam Deck has 1.6 teraflops with the exact same architecture, but it runs at about a quarter of the resolution. So it should be fine, right? I mean, it has more than a quarter of the horsepower, so it should run fine at a quarter of the resolution, right? You see, the Xbox Series S already has a hard time running AAA games at full resolution. In fact, all the consoles do. For example, in Control, the Series X and PS5 render at 1440p and then upscale. The Series S, well, it has an internal resolution of 900p before being upscaled to 1440p. So that would mean that the Steam Deck would need to render at even lower resolutions to get a game like that working with the same settings / level of quality. This really just means one thing. If you really are planning on buying this portable console, do you trust that Steam will really go through the trouble of optimizing most of the games on its platform for you? Or do you think that you will have to crush those settings for a playable frame rate? Personally, I'm betting on the latter. Don't get me wrong, I'm impressed by what they've managed to pack in there. I just don't think that it's the Switch Pro that everyone is talking about. There's a reason why most Nintendo games work great on this underpowered console. It was optimized for it from the start. And also, I mean, the graphics aren't that complicated. Now, I know what you might say, there are technologies that can help, like FSR. The problem with FSR is that the lower resolution you go, the worse the image quality gets. So if it was to render something at, let's say, 400p and upscaled to 800p, it would look absolutely horrible. Moving on, then there's battery life. It has a whopping 40 watt-hour battery, and that's pretty good. According to the website, it's about 2 to 8 hours, depending on what you're playing. The only problem is their benchmark game. It's Portal 2. And how long can you play? Well, they say about 4 hours. At least they said that if you limit it to 30 FPS, then you can bring that to between 5 and 6 hours. So I guess that's alright for a portable PC that can play your Steam library. Obviously though, newer 3D games probably take a lot more to run than a 10-year-old game, so we'll have to wait until the release to see how it fares with newer AAA games. And the last gripe that I have with the Steam Deck is the storage. If you plan on buying one, please get one of the 2 higher end models. Why? Well, while their internal storage is definitely an advantage, the biggest advantage is the type of memory that is used, NVMe. The base model, it uses eMMC storage, which is incredibly slow by today's standards. And if you ever want to use technologies similar to direct storage, well, you would be out of luck since it requires high-speed NVMe storage to work. Seriously, do not touch the eMMC storage version. At its fastest, it barely touches the speed of an average fast micro SD card that you can find on the market today, which you will need to if you want to play more recent games, which are getting bigger and bigger. There are some really cool advantages to this console though. It is a portable PC. You can literally plug it into a dock that is sold separately and put it on a big screen with a mouse and keyboard if you want to. Now, it doesn't come with Windows, but Valve will let you install it if you want to. It's an open platform. That would make it a truly portable PC. That means that you could install the Epic Game Store if you want to access your free games that you've accumulated over the years, and if you prefer a subscription model, that means that you can install Xbox Game Pass and, play the hundreds of games that are available there. The only thing I'd say is a disadvantage here is that since you're playing on the Steam app, you're gonna suck a whole lot more in the games that you play. Unless the game has input-based matchmaking, you'll be bound to play with keyboard and mouse users, which will of course destroy you. Now hey, despite everything, if you're a PC gamer and want to play on the go, the Steam Deck is kind of the best choice around. You don't have to buy games twice since they're already in your Steam library or even in your Epic Games library or even on Xbox Game Pass, and well, it's probably the most powerful piece of hardware for gaming on the go. And that's why, if that's what you're looking for, it's probably the best option around. I know there are other manufacturers that have AMD embedded processors for portable PCs, notably the Aya Neo or the GPD Win 3, but these are all more expensive options for arguably worse performance given the older and aging Vega graphics. The Steam Deck itself starts at $399 US or $499 Canadian for the base model, which once again, please don't buy that model, or $529 US and $659 Canadian for the better version, which comes with a 256GB NVMe and some accessories. Oh, and there's also a $650 US or $820 Canadian model with 500 or so gigabytes of NVMe storage, a better anti-glare screen, and a few accessories. It also has a couple of software bonuses. So yeah, I know that I'm pretty critical of this machine, but my personal recommendation is pretty favorable. It's just don't buy the $399 model. Aside from that, if you want in on portable gaming, especially portable PC gaming, the Steam Deck is kind of your chance. Right now they're taking pre-orders and the console should start shipping at the end of this year in December. Although current reservations are already seeing expected shipping times of Q1 and Q2 of 2022. Ouch. Anyways guys, that is pretty much it for the catch up. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Leave a like if you liked it, a comment if you have anything to say about this video. As usual, you can click right here to see the latest video, right here to subscribe to the channel. Stay frosty my dudes, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.